We are delighted to have Marianne Williamson with us on this special anniversary show. She's been with us every anniversary. She's one of the very first celebrity people we had on Saturday night for the Peace Tribe, Saturday Night Live. And she's, of course, been running for president. We had an amazing program with her earlier. And Marianne, thank you for being with us. And I'd love to get your vision that we can all hold for what an awakening world truly will look like.
First of all, I want to thank you for everything you've done for us. Congratulate you and all the people who work with you on your anniversary. In A Course in Miracles, it says an idea grows stronger when it's shared. And you've been a major soloist in this symphonic resonance going on and going back now for years, really articulating and holding the space for a conversation that is new and better. I quote Werner Erhard often when he said, you can live your life one of two ways. You can live your life out of circumstances, or you can live your life out of a vision. And really, that's everything we've been talking about. So many of us, obviously you, what's our vision of what you just called an awakened world? From a metaphysical spiritual perspective, to be awake is to be aware of who you are, really, what's your actual identity and why are you on this earth? Living on this planet, it's a training in forgetting who we are.
Mhm.
It's a training in thinking that we are bodies and that we are separate from each other. And enlightenment is unlearning that false worldview to realize the level, the ultimately real level on which there's no place where you stop and I start, where we're not separate from each other, where we come from the mind of love and we are here to extend that love. So I think that so many people, not just in our country and around the world, probably less in our country to some extent than many places in the world, are feeling this evolutionary impulse to awaken from the sleep of that forgetfulness. The reason I ran for president was because it's not enough for us to just awaken individually, because there's collective karma. A collective can reap results and consequences, just like an individual can. So an awakened world to me is, number one, a planet in which there is no more war. War has become a mere memory. And the way we use vision to get there, for instance, is that we all need to imagine, use the power of our imaginative capacity to imagine a planet in which there is no war, and then reverse engineer from there. We can't just keep fighting wars. Franklin Roosevelt said we need to do more than end war. We need to end the beginnings of all wars. So whether you're talking about Ukraine, whether you're talking about Israel and Palestine, there are so many places where what could have been done decades ago that would have made a different outcome possible and even probable. So there are two things to me about an awakened world. One, the vision of the world where there is no unnecessary suffering. We have 12,000 children on this planet who starve every day, but there's no dearth of food. The problem is not a dearth of food. It's the fact that we are at a state in the consciousness of humanity where we are willing to even tolerate a starving child,
Mhm.
right? So to me, when I think of an awakened world, I think of a world where there is no unnecessary suffering, where we've repaired the earth, we've repaired the skies, we've repaired the waters, we've repaired the earth, we've formed peace, community, all those things that we know, and the love that is possible. But also I think it's important that, as Gandhi said, the end is inherent in the means. And that means that until we ourselves become awake, we cannot be channels for the awakened world. So I think all of us see that challenge within ourselves, not just how they should be more awake, but how we ourselves need to be more awake. Where are the places where we are choosing fear over love, judgment over blessing, victimization over genuine triumph through more pure and loving thought. So That's the name of the game right now, as I see it, and I think so many of us are joined in that, don't you?
Absolutely. Um, and as you've been out traveling the country running for president, what have you seen? I know you've seen some very hard things. You've experienced some things that make us all angry. Is there anything you've seen that's given you extra hope or extra inspiration?
How wonderful people are.
Mm,
Scott, when people sometimes say, well, who are your supporters? I say people who've actually heard me.
yeah.
Because what I see, I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico right now. The famous jazz musician Stanley Jordan is even going to be there opening tonight. What a support that is, as well as tomorrow night in Albuquerque. Um, what I see are people who I believe are the vast majority of Americans who are decent,
Mhm.
intelligent, noble when called to be, and concerned about this country. I love history. And I think if you actually look at the history of this country, there's a lot to inspire us to believe that the kind of repair and course correction that we need to do now is possible. If abolitionists could pull it off, and women suffragists could pull it off, and the original labor organizers could pull it off, and the civil rights movement could pull it off, surely they were facing systems that were cruel, unjust, and locked up, but
Mhm.
they unlocked them. And so what I see that gives me hope is just the people I meet at my talks and who come up to me, not at my talks, but tell me that they love my work or love the campaign. Um, and of course, that's why there was such an effort to suppress it, but that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but for the purposes of a conversation where we need to hold the vision, it's okay, and life will do what it does. But when I'm actually out there talking to people, and I'll be in a whole room of people, 100, 200, 300, nobody's looking at their phone.
Mm,
Everybody's really listening. Everybody is listening, not just to me, but to other people when they speak. I think Americans crave meaning right now. There's so much ultimately unimportant, shallow stimulus that just assaults us day in and day out. And often it's even coming from supposedly news sources. So it's almost hard to know, where do I look for meaning? Now, people like yourself, when it comes to the individual transformation, there are a lot of places to look for meaning right now. But when it comes to the collective,
mhm.
I think we all want that because we know, you know, 9/11, when 9/11 occurred, a woman who I knew, a friend of mine, was on one of the planes. She was going from Boston to Los Angeles that morning
Oh,
because her son was in a rock and roll band and she was going to hear him. And if you had said to me, Marianne, name 5 people who you have known in your life, who, if you were told, we want the world to know what Americans are like, give me a person who you would want the world to say, see, this is a woman who, she saw a television show about her animals, she would cry for a day. I mean, the most sensitive, the most loving, but she happened to be on that plane. So none of us can wall ourselves off from the collective issues that are driving the world today. I've been saying for so long, good luck thinking you can just drink all that green juice and that'll fix it, because you know, there's so much poisons in the air, so many poisons in the ground, so many poisons. At this point, it can't just be about me transforming. It's got to be about us transforming.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that you have shared and that you are shining the light on truth. And it's very frustrating to, I think, our tribe, how the Democratic Party has shoehorned Biden back in, just like they shoehorned Hillary in 8 years ago. And look at what that led to, instead of Bernie having a real shot. And you haven't been given a real shot. And it breaks our hearts. And we just want you to know you are our candidate. You
Thank
are
you.
who represent our
Thank you.
values and what we believe
Thank
in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And in the States, listen, I'm still on the ballots. in quite a few states, Wyoming and New Mexico and Oregon and Guam and Virgin Islands and Idaho and Puerto Rico. So I'm in Maryland, where I'll be, I'll be in New Mexico in a few days. I'll be in Oregon, then in Maryland. We'll make it to Puerto Rico. So please, I hope everybody understands, in a state where I'm on your ballot. I mean, you can still vote for me. Joe Biden does not need your vote. Joe Biden already has the delegates. But the more votes we get, we've already gotten over 400,000 votes. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
which means nothing in terms of getting the nomination. But if you have a close election in November, those are the kinds of numbers that do. So with first of all, I think everybody should be able to vote the option that represents the agenda they'd want to see for the country. So if anybody does, I'm sure there are people watching for whom, I'm not their candidate, and that's democracy, and we respect that. But for those who do align, please know that every vote matters, because the more votes we get, the more eyebrows we raise,
yeah.
you know?
Well, and look at, Biden won Georgia by 12,000 votes. The entire election in 2001, Florida was 500 votes
Thank
that
you.
made a difference.
So even though this is not the November election, votes matter on some level, even if they don't matter anymore in something like this, getting actually delegates for the convention. And then who knows? Wouldn't it
Yeah,
be fun if we picked up one or two?
absolutely. That is so cool to know that 400,000 plus votes
Yeah.
for you. That
Hmm.
is beautiful.
And
And
where are you located? Where are you located?
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area,
A
and
hundred.
people are all over the country. We've got
Well,
people.
we got 135,000 votes in California. So, think what it would have been if we had actually had the money to actually have the kind of, and the exposure. So all good. We just have to keep on keeping on in whatever form is available to us.
And the
And
people who believe in you. It's not just like they're not just voting against Trump, they are voting for Marianne. And
well,
that's also something that I think is really important. How many people are voting for Biden versus voting against the other guy? Whereas when those 400,000 people were like, no, we are voting for Marianne because she represents our values.
well, I think also we have been trained in this country over the last few decades to expect so little. We're not even told you have a right to say, no, I want Medicare for all. I want universal health care. I want tuition-free college and tech school, like in every other advanced democracy. I want subsidized childcare. I want a guaranteed living wage. I want a Department of Peace. Yeah, I want that. Like you said, Scott, not just, well, I don't want that other guy, so I'll take, no, it's, we want this.
Mhm.
Once again, live into that vision of what you want.
If you were offered the opportunity to create the Department of Peace, would you say yes?
Of course I would, but I, let's not,
Well,
not
that's a vision we can
not dealing
hold.
with this president, but uh, who know, uh, listen, Scott, I think that I would do whatever I could possibly do to, I haven't lived this long and worked this hard to do anything other than serve in whatever way I can. And you and I both know too, and I'm sure that this is true of a lot of people who are watching. This is my chapter 3. We want to go out with a bang. So I know a lot of us feel that way. Whatever's available where we can serve. I love that gospel song, God Use Me. That's my favorite.
I'm from Agape all the time.
Mhm.
You're part of the Nature Summit that we're supporting, and my old friend Jane Fonda is on that. I ran a camp at Jane's Ranch for 11 years in Santa Barbara, and she coined the term that we are now in our third act. And
Mhm.
we're in our third act, and it's the third act is when it all comes together, when all the different things we've learned and grown come together and resolution takes place. And so bless you and myself and all of us
All
that
of
are
us.
in our third act, definitely the final act. Yeah.
Thank you, darling. And no, it's not, as we know, it's not even the final,
Yeah.
because there's no final.
Right, right. The
And
third act
there's no
of this
final
movie,
in nature.
right, right. The third act of the movie of
Yeah,
the human life.
particular suit of clothes. Yeah.
Exactly, in our meat body.
Thank you so much, Scott.
God bless you, Marianne. Thank you so much. Have a great time at your event tonight, and thank you for taking
Thank you.
time for
And
the goal.
congratulations to you. And I know I thank you on behalf of everyone who's part of this tribe, as you say. Thank you for all that you contribute.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
God bless, darling. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.